Hey now, it's Thursday. We got through St. Patrick's Day, didn't we? I'm going to keep it up, folks. We're living in some really sad times, and I'm not imagining this, but the mainstream media, which is literally every media outlet, I'm not just talking about CNN and Fox, I'm talking about worldwide pretty much. There is an implicit bias in the news, and the thing that I notice real strong, real consistently, is how the slant of the news is foments problems. They don't report, they actually inflame. I especially notice it here in America. But I watch news all over the world and I see it happening everywhere. It's like people who have the power to control the narrative are doing exactly that, and not to the benefit of the planet. That's the main thing I want to say. Their narrative is very self-serving. They have it good. They're going to keep it good at the expense of the entire planet. That's what I see. So, it's just a little frustrating to me, you know. So I encourage people to make good news in your own personal life, and just do what we can to not increase the madness. I'm thinking about this Asian violence and how it's being reported, and I'm noticing in a way that the way that it's being reported seems to be encouraging it. I'm not imagining this, people. The mainstream media, every time they just go from one hot button to the next, and rather than use the power to help the situation, they inflame it. I can hardly watch the news anymore, and yet I do. So ganbatte, do your best. A couple thoughts on my mind this morning. I just sometimes want to just share these things, you know. Not that I necessarily need to hear your feedback on it. I just want to tell you. But I picked up this record recently. A German band with a French guitarist, Frob, going back to the 70s. Again, it's not like they don't make good music now, but they don't make music like this now. They don't. This is a jazz rock band. This is the kind of thing I love to find. Now look at that shitty cover. This band, it's like they're saying, we're making sure that the public knows that this record is not about an image, it's about the music. If you buy this, it's because you're interested in what we're playing. And they got it right. This album is really fresh and original. They don't sound like anybody. It's the sort of thing that I like to find. This keeps popping up in my head about record collecting and beats and hip hop, because I've always been on a path of my own. Like, for example, over the years, someone who's really become, who is highly lauded for beats is Bob James. I've never bought a Bob James record because I've always thought, to my ears, they were corny. Bob James can play. He's got the best of the musicians, but what he was playing to me was not innovative or very interesting. And yet this is what all the DJs, I have young friends, and they brag, you know, I found this beat, this one's got a good break. You played that record and all you heard was a drum beat? I'm not impressed with that. What I'm saying is, you hear it every now and then in newer music where artists will sample obscure stuff. But let me see some hip-hoppers badass enough to sample something like this. This music is fantastic. It's not about a drum break, but there's amazing rhythms on here. That's what I'm trying to say. All this music and all you're waiting for is a drum break? Huh? Don't get sore, just hear what I'm saying. With that in mind, see, there's so much to share. Aneta, that's your name. Thank you, Aneta. I need to be discreet about sharing some about this until their publisher is ready, okay? But yesterday I did another Zoom interview. This one is for another book. So it's going to be 2 books that I'm going to be in now about record collecting and music. This one, the person specifically asked me to not mention their name out of concern for their publisher. And I've learned the hard way doing business that in business, it does matter who knows what when. So what I can tell you is that I did a fantastic interview yesterday. It came about through Aneta. Thank you, Aneta, in Poland, about record collecting, the power of music, and some other things. And it's going to be in a book that's being published later this year. I love it. And it turns out that another one that I did 2 parts of, Zoom interview, that is also going to be part of a book written by this guy who is a classical musician. I'm very honored by these things, but as I can tell you, I will. Also, more personal news. I need to do this. See, it's like I have this business, and I'm not a business-minded person. So I'm on FPE Records now, and I believe it's tomorrow that they do the official release, or maybe it's already happened this week, of the FPE Records sampler, the new one. Let me see, I can pull it up in my bookmarks. Excuse me. Compilation for practically everyone. Excuse me. This is released tomorrow, okay? But I'm on the label, and it includes my song, and they're starting to promote it a bit through social media. And so I need to shine a light on that and encourage you folks to check out this label for practically everyone, not just because of me, but Plaque Blake, Nicole Mitchell is on there, turning water into jewels, Ravish Moments project. It's an interesting label. I'm really happy to be on it, and so that's some business stuff I need to say. One more record that's sitting out, Brainticket, Joel Van Drogenbroek's Cosmic Music Project, Celestial Ocean. I love this album. Very trippy. And this is another one that I inherited from the Reese brothers. So this record is very collectible and expensive. I got it for absolutely free. I also have the coveted poster. I'm not going to unfold it because it's so old, and every time you unfold it, it damages it. But I have the poster with it as well. Now, I listened to the whole album last night. It's a great album. I used to actually had the poster on my wall for a long time, too. So it's got some damage in that way. But this is there's some funky stuff on here where I heard Kanye West use King Crimson. I've heard some other rappers use some progressive where they're using actual music parts as opposed to just drum breaks for backgrounds. And this would be an interesting one. It's slow and funky. Kind of putting a thumb up young people's butts, you know. I have a lot of young friends, and I don't take that guff of them. I said, I came before you. You know, I respect you, and young people need to be listened to. But the art of respecting elders and listening to their stories and their wisdom has been lost. And so I don't take that bullshit, you know. Yeah, I got information for you. Like this. Who else has a copy of this album? Arachnoid, out of France. Very complex progressive rock. This is a bitch of an album. Took me a long time to get a copy of it, too. Let me stop there, people. I love you all.